your bonus is based on your billable hours. So you're literally saying, please pay me less, right?
I still remember the first training with CVs. We say that do not eat your time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is so common. At the beginning, I didn't recognize that it could be an issue. But then the more I work in public, I recognize that actually it's not very new to people who work in public because a lot of us actually eat our time. We did talk about try to be curious, try to learn as much as you can, but a lot of time you cannot avoid eating your time. So what would you do in that case?
I do not think you should eat your time. One, your bonus is based on your billable hours. So you're literally saying, please pay me less, right? I think that one, that's the first point. Two, if you're on the job next year and you would eat your time, you're going to have less budgeted hours because they're going to think you did it faster. You don't need more time, right? I think also we sometimes miss the point of you might take longer in one area, but less time in another area, and that's going to offset it overall. And you're just looking too micro. I think that I can't speak for every public accounting firm. There's probably pressures out there. You're not in trouble for going over budget. You're not in trouble for getting a bad realization, right? So I just don't see what benefit it is to you to not record your hours. Now, I mean, I would, at the beginning of my career, I would sometimes read like the RevRec guide for software when I knew I had a client coming up. But I typically did that. This was after I was done studying for my CPA, but I typically did that. Like I'd go to the gym on the treadmill and I'd walk and do that. I didn't bill that, but if I was in the office, I probably would have billed it to admin, or maybe the job, I would talk to the manager, hey, I feel like I need to research this for this engagement. But I don't think we should be fearful of it because it is what it is, right? It's not, we're trying to control something that isn't really in our control. It took what it took. Crystal, did you ever feel pressured to eat your time when you were in public accounting?
Not from outside pressure. I think when I felt like I was spending too much time on it because I was kind of, figuring it out or just not being, I was like, having to I was struggling with something. Sometimes I'd feel like, looked at that. How long did I really take to do that? What should I really put down? Should I put down every minute I've been sitting here? What have I been doing? So I think just internally kind of struggled with some of that a little bit. And again, that's, probably trying to just get that A, be perfect, do things, everything that's asked. But I mean, you run out of time, right? Meaning like you can only work so many hours. So if you're eating your time and you want to show a certain amount of work done, I mean, the math doesn't work, right? Like how much can you work? And then if you're eating some of it, how much are you really working? So, I mean, I definitely agree. You should not be eating your time. You should, again, this is an area you should be communicating. Danielle, that's great. Even if early in your career, like as an associate, if you would ask a manager about, you were researching, you wanted to read guidance. I don't know that I would have even thought to ask a manager to bill that to a client unless I was physically in field work, wanting to read the guidance right there while I was, working on something. If it was like before we started or just kind of, I was thinking about it, trying to figure something out, I would not. That's great. I think that's great that you would have thought to do that. I would have just considered that like, admin self-improvement kind of.